Have you ever found yourself struggling to keep up with change? Maybe you've tried to hold on to a particular way of thinking or doing things, only to realize that the world has moved on and you're left behind. Or perhaps you've watched others who seem to effortlessly navigate obstacles and come out stronger, no matter what life threw at them. What's their secret? The answer is flexibility. In this video, we're going to explore why softness conquers hardness is not just a philosophical idea, it's a strategy for success in life, business, and personal growth. We'll take a look at the stories of two individuals who embody this principle and have seen remarkable success because they chose to embrace change and adapt rather than resist it. We'll talk about the lessons from Lynn, a tech worker who led her team through a massive shift in the company's approach, and David, a fashion entrepreneur who successfully pivoted his brick-and-mortar store to a booming online business. Both of these stories reveal one simple truth. Flexibility is not a sign of weakness, but a source of strength. But here's the big question. Are you ready to embrace change in your own life? Can you see the challenges and uncertainties as opportunities for growth? If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to push past limitations and discover how to adapt to life's twists and turns, this video is for you. Before we jump in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more insightful content like this. And if you're enjoying the video, be sure to hit the super thanks button to support the channel and help me continue bringing you these powerful messages. Your support means the world to me. Let's get started and discover how you can unlock the true power of flexibility in your life. In today's fast-paced, competitive world, we are constantly told that success comes from being the strongest, the most determined, or the most rigid in our decisions. But in reality, the most successful people are often those who can adapt, bend, and change with the circumstances. My Tang Kung Ran, or softness conquers hardness, is a concept that, though deeply rooted in philosophy, resonates strongly in modern-day business and personal development. But why is this the case? Why does being adaptable, flexible, and soft often lead to better outcomes than being inflexible or rigid? Let's take a step back and think about it. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where sticking to a strict rule or plan only made things worse? Maybe you were working on a team project, or perhaps managing a situation at work or in your personal life. When you refused to bend or adjust to new information, didn't the results often feel like failure or frustration? On the other hand, when you gave yourself the freedom to adapt, weren't you able to find better solutions, connect with others, and achieve your goals in a more efficient and harmonious way? It's not just about being flexible in the traditional sense of compromising, but about the ability to see change as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. This flexibility, this softness, is far more powerful in today's world than we often give it credit for. Think about this: how often do we, as individuals or leaders, face unexpected challenges that require us to adjust our course? Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, life is full of unpredictable variables. The best leaders, entrepreneurs, and even friends are those who can adapt, navigate challenges with an open mind, and shape their responses to fit the needs of the moment. For example, in business, successful companies don't just stick to their original blueprint. When things change, they pivot. They change their marketing strategies, shift their product focus, or reevaluate their approach to customer needs. Companies like Apple and Netflix didn't become the giants they are today by sticking to the same formula. They adapted to new technology, new consumer habits, and new global demands. Now, take the opposite example. Consider a business or individual who refuses to change or adjust. Their success might be short-lived. Take the story of Blockbuster, which dominated the video rental market for years. But when the market shifted to streaming, Blockbuster stuck to its old ways, clinging to physical rentals. Meanwhile, Netflix, originally a DVD mail service, adapted quickly to streaming and eventually dominated the entertainment industry. Blockbuster's failure wasn't due to a lack of ambition or resources, but because they were inflexible in adapting to a rapidly changing world. This is the danger of rigidity, the inability to adjust to the needs of the moment. Being adaptable doesn't mean you don't have principles or goals. It simply means you're willing to adjust your approach when circumstances change. It's about knowing when to hold firm and when to bend. This is what makes someone not just a survivor, but a true leader in any field. Flexibility doesn't just apply to businesses or leaders, though. It also shows up in personal relationships, where adaptability is just as important. Think of the friendships and romantic relationships that thrive despite challenges. The people in these relationships understand the importance of flexibility, whether it's being open to your partner's needs, adapting to changes in their life, or finding a new way to communicate when misunderstandings occur. Relationships, much like businesses, require adaptation. The rigid, unyielding individual often finds themselves in conflict, while those who are able to bend and adjust tend to build deeper, more lasting connections. The art of adaptability also manifests in how we handle failures. Let's face it, no one is immune to failure. In fact, failure is often a necessary part of success. But when we are too rigid in our thinking, failure becomes a personal attack rather than a learning opportunity. On the other hand, when we adopt a more flexible mindset, we are able to take the lessons from our failures, adjust our approach, and try again stronger and wiser. This ability to be resilient and adaptable is what makes successful people different. They don't see failure as an end. They see it as a beginning, an opportunity to learn, grow, and adapt. Another compelling example can be drawn from the story of Charles Darwin, the renowned naturalist who developed the theory of evolution. Darwin's work wasn't based on a rigid understanding of the natural world, but rather on his ability to observe, adapt, and revise his theories based on new evidence. His flexibility in accepting new ideas and adapting his research process led him to discover concepts that changed the course of science forever. If Darwin had clung to traditional beliefs or rejected ideas that didn't fit his initial theories, he never would have made the groundbreaking discoveries that he did. Flexibility isn't just about letting things slide when the going gets tough. It's about knowing how to approach challenges, how to see the bigger picture, and how to make decisions that reflect the best possible outcomes for yourself and the people around you. It's about the wisdom of understanding when to push forward with determination and when to step back and reassess. This is the real power of softness in our lives. Of course, being adaptable doesn't mean being weak or lacking conviction. It's easy to confuse flexibility with indecision or a lack of willpower, but nothing could be further from the truth. The strongest people are often the most flexible. They understand the value of bending, but they never break. They know when to hold their ground and when to pivot. For instance, a skilled negotiator is someone who doesn't rely on brute force to get what they want, but uses insight, understanding, and flexibility to find the best possible outcome. The most successful leaders do not demand that people follow them without question. They adapt their leadership style to meet the needs of their team, guiding them toward success with an understanding of their strengths and weaknesses. In conclusion, the idea that softness conquers hardness is a reminder that flexibility and adaptability are not just important, they are essential for success in today's ever-changing world. It's not about being passive or weak. It's about being wise and knowing when to adjust, when to step forward, and when to take a step back, whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth. The ability to adapt to new circumstances is what ultimately drives success. We don't need to be the hardest or the most rigid. We need to be the most adaptable. After all, it's not the strongest or the most stubborn who survive, but the ones most willing to change and grow with the times. Flexibility is an essential trait in both our personal lives and professional careers, playing a pivotal role in how we navigate the constant challenges and changes we encounter. It is often said that change is the only constant, and those who thrive in today's world are not necessarily the ones with the most rigid plans or the most unwavering resolve, but those who can bend, adapt, and shift direction when necessary. In both the workplace and our personal relationships, flexibility is a cornerstone of success. It enables us to solve problems creatively, adjust to new environments, and maintain healthy, productive relationships. In short, it is the ability to adapt that allows us to succeed and move forward in an ever-changing world. In life and work, flexibility can be defined as the ability to adapt and adjust to new conditions, environments, or challenges. This flexibility isn't just about physical movement or the ability to bend. It is more about mental and emotional agility, the capacity to reassess a situation, make necessary adjustments, and take action when things are no longer going according to plan. When we approach life and work with a flexible mindset, we are better equipped to handle unforeseen challenges and stay focused on the bigger picture rather than getting bogged down by setbacks. One of the most important reasons flexibility is so crucial is that it allows us to adapt quickly to change. Change, both large and small, is inevitable in today's world. The job market is constantly evolving. Relationships face new challenges, and personal growth often involves confronting the unexpected. A rigid mindset, one that refuses to bend, can quickly lead to frustration or even failure when things don't go as planned. In contrast, those who are flexible can adapt their strategies and solutions based on new information, often achieving better results than those who rigidly stick to their original plans. For example, in a business context, companies that are willing to adapt to changes in consumer behavior, technological advancements, or market dynamics are more likely to succeed. Look at companies like Apple or Google, which continuously evolve their products and services to meet changing customer demands. They don't rest on their laurels or stick to a single product strategy for decades. Instead, they remain open to change, allowing them to stay at the forefront of innovation. On the flip side, consider companies that failed to adapt, like Kodak. Kodak was once the leading brand in photography, but failed to embrace the digital revolution, ultimately leading to its downfall. Its failure to adapt to the changing market and consumer behavior is a stark reminder of how flexibility is vital in the business world. Flexibility also plays a significant role in problem solving. People who are flexible in their thinking are often better equipped to find creative solutions to challenges. When confronted with obstacles, they are not bound by preconceived notions or methods. Instead, they're willing to consider multiple perspectives and explore alternative options. In contrast, a rigid mindset might limit one's ability to think outside the box or find innovative solutions, leading to frustration or a sense of being stuck. Flexibility in problem solving allows individuals to move past obstacles and find new paths to success. A great example of this can be found in the world of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs who thrive are often those who can pivot quickly when faced with unexpected problems. Take the story of Twitter, for example. Twitter was initially launched as a podcasting platform called Audio, but when Apple's iTunes started offering podcasting services, Audio was rendered obsolete. Instead of clinging to the original business model, the team behind Audio pivoted and launched Twitter, which went on to become one of the world's largest social media platforms. This shift in direction is a perfect illustration of how flexibility, even in the face of failure, can lead to groundbreaking success. Another area where flexibility is crucial is in communication. Our ability to communicate effectively with others depends largely on how adaptable we are in different situations. In both our professional and personal lives, we need to be able to adjust our communication style to fit the audience and context. What works in one scenario might not work in another, and understanding this nuance is critical for success. For instance, in a corporate environment, you might need to adjust your tone and approach when speaking to different stakeholders. When addressing a team of employees, a more collaborative and motivational tone might be appropriate, whereas a discussion with senior executives might require a more formal, data-driven approach. Similarly, in personal relationships, flexibility in communication can help navigate difficult conversations, ensuring that both parties feel heard and respected. Flexibility in how we present our ideas and how we listen to others fosters trust, reduces misunderstandings, and promotes effective collaboration. Let's take a look at a personal example. Imagine having a conversation with a close friend who's going through a tough time. If you approach the conversation with empathy and understanding, adjusting your words and tone to fit their emotional state, the conversation is likely to go much better than if you were to approach it with a rigid mindset, focusing solely on what you want to say. Flexibility in communication helps build trust, resolve conflicts, and strengthen relationships, whether in a personal or professional context. In addition to fostering better communication, flexibility is also an essential tool for reducing conflict. Conflict is an inevitable part of life, whether in the workplace, family, or social settings. However, how we approach and manage conflict can significantly affect the outcomes. Those who are flexible in their approach are more likely to find common ground, resolve conflicts amicably, and move forward with positive relationships. An example of this can be seen in workplace negotiations. Let's say two employees are in conflict over how to handle a project. One employee insists that their way is the only correct approach, while the other is equally convinced of their own solution. A rigid stance from either side can escalate the conflict and lead to a stalemate. However, if both parties are willing to approach the issue with flexibility, considering each other's viewpoints, brainstorming alternative solutions, and compromising when necessary, they are much more likely to reach a resolution that benefits everyone involved. Flexibility also helps maintain stability in environments that are constantly changing. In today's world, change is not just inevitable, it is often rapid and disruptive. The workplace is constantly evolving, new technologies emerge daily, and societal norms shift. Individuals and organizations that are flexible are much better able to navigate these changes without losing momentum or stability. By staying flexible, many businesses had to quickly adapt to a remote work model. Companies that were flexible in embracing new technologies, like Zoom and Microsoft Teams, were able to continue operations with minimal disruption. In contrast, businesses that were slow to adapt to remote work faced significant challenges, including decreased productivity, employee disengagement, and in some cases, closure. This scenario highlights the importance of flexibility in maintaining stability, even in the face of unprecedented challenges. The benefits of flexibility are clear. It enables us to communicate effectively, solve problems creatively, reduce conflict, and maintain stability in an ever-changing world. Whether in our personal relationships, professional endeavors, or interactions with others, flexibility is an essential skill for success. It is not just about being passive or giving in to every situation. It is about recognizing when to adapt, when to let go of rigid ideas, and when to embrace change as an opportunity for growth. In conclusion, flexibility is a powerful tool that enables us to thrive in a world that is constantly shifting. It allows us to adjust our approach, solve problems more effectively, and navigate complex situations with greater ease. As we continue to face new challenges and opportunities, cultivating flexibility in our mindset and actions will be key to our success. Those who can bend, adapt, and adjust are the ones who will not only survive, but thrive in the future. When we talk about rigidity, we're referring to a mindset or approach that resists change, flexibility, or adaptability. This inflexibility can manifest in various aspects of life, from personal relationships to business practices, and it has profound consequences when left unchecked. At its core, rigidity is the unwillingness to deviate from established patterns, often to the detriment of growth, creativity, and progress. Rigidity in thinking and action can stifle innovation, hinder personal development, and create barriers to effective communication. It's an attitude that believes things must stay as they are, and any deviation from that is considered a threat. To understand the effects of rigidity, it's important to first define it more clearly. Rigidity is the refusal to change, adapt, or consider alternative perspectives. In thinking, it manifests as a belief that only one solution is correct, or that traditions and established ways of doing things are the only valid approach. In action, it can show up as an inability to adjust one's methods or strategies when new challenges arise or when circumstances shift. This type of thinking can often be rooted in a fear of the unknown, a desire for control, or a deep attachment to the status quo. One of the most immediate consequences of rigidity is the missed opportunities that arise when individuals or organizations fail to adapt to new circumstances. The world is changing rapidly, and those who cling too tightly to old ways of thinking or doing things often find themselves left behind. The inability to change or reconsider approaches can lead to stagnation and, ultimately, failure. The ability to adapt is one of the most important skills in today's dynamic world, and rigidity only serves to hinder that flexibility. Think about a person who, despite growing evidence that their methods are no longer effective, refuses to change. In a personal context, this could be someone who refuses to adapt to new technology, continuing to use outdated methods of communication or work because they are comfortable with what they know. This person might miss out on opportunities for personal growth, the ability to connect with others, or even professional success. The same principle applies to businesses that resist change. Organizations that refuse to evolve or innovate in response to changes in the market are at risk of being overtaken by competitors who embrace new ideas and strategies. For example, consider the case of Nokia, once a global leader in mobile phones. In the early 2000s, Nokia was synonymous with mobile phones, and its devices were the most popular on the market. However, as smartphones began to emerge, Nokia continued to focus on traditional mobile phones and failed to shift its strategy to embrace the touch screen revolution. Apple and Google, with their innovative iPhones and Android systems, changed the mobile phone market forever. Nokia's inability to adapt and innovate, while other companies embrace change, ultimately led to its fall from dominance. This is a perfect example of how rigidity in business can lead to missed opportunities and eventual failure. The company failed to foresee the shift towards smartphones and did not respond to the changing needs of consumers, which eventually caused them to lose market share and relevance. Similarly, companies in other industries that refuse to pivot or adapt to changing consumer demands have faced similar downfalls. Blockbuster, for example, was once the go-to company for movie rentals. When the internet era began and digital streaming services like Netflix emerged, Blockbuster stuck to its physical rental model. Blockbuster was slow to adopt the changes in consumer behavior, and by the time they attempted to enter the online streaming market, it was too late. Netflix, on the other hand, adapted to the changing environment, evolving from a DVD rental service to a leading streaming platform. Blockbuster's failure to embrace the shift in technology and consumer habits is a classic case of how rigidity can lead to failure in business. The effects of rigidity are not confined to companies alone. They extend into personal relationships as well. Rigidity in communication can cause significant friction between individuals, making it difficult to form meaningful connections. When we are rigid in our communication, we are less likely to listen to others or adjust our approach based on their needs. Instead, we cling to our own perspective, unwilling to consider alternative viewpoints or adjust our tone and approach to suit the situation. This can lead to misunderstandings, frustration, and ultimately, the breakdown of relationships. For instance, in a family setting, a rigid mindset could lead to constant conflict. Imagine a parent who insists on controlling every aspect of their child's life, refusing to listen to their child's preferences, needs, or feelings. This parent's rigid way of thinking and unwillingness to adjust their behavior may lead to alienation, resentment, and a lack of trust between them and their child. In romantic relationships, the inability to compromise or see things from the other person's point of view can cause significant strain. Partners who are rigid in their expectations or communication style often struggle to resolve conflicts and find common ground, leading to a toxic dynamic. In a workplace, rigidity in communication can also create barriers to collaboration and teamwork. If one team member insists on doing things their way without considering the perspectives of others, it can lead to frustration and inefficiency. team members may feel unheard or disregarded, which can negatively affect morale and productivity. Successful teams are often those that can communicate effectively, listen to one another, and remain open to changing their approach when necessary. Rigidity in communication can stifle innovation, creativity, and progress within a team or organization. Furthermore, rigidity can hinder personal growth and development. A rigid mindset limits our ability to learn from our mistakes and evolve. People who are unwilling to acknowledge their mistakes or adjust their behavior are less likely to improve or achieve their full potential. Growth, both personal and professional, requires flexibility and the willingness to step outside of our comfort zones. Without the ability to adapt and learn from experiences, individuals become stuck in old patterns and miss out on opportunities to grow and improve. In contrast, those who are open to feedback, willing to change, and capable of adjusting their behavior are more likely to experience success and fulfillment. The consequences of rigidity in personal and professional life are clear: missed opportunities, failure to adapt, and difficulty maintaining relationships. Rigidity, whether in thinking, communication, or behavior, can act as a barrier to progress and personal development. While it is important to have a strong sense of direction and conviction, it is equally important to remain open to change and willing to adapt when necessary. The most successful individuals and organizations are those that can balance their values and goals with the flexibility needed to thrive in an ever-changing world. In conclusion, rigidity is a mindset that can significantly hinder personal growth, career success, and healthy relationships. The refusal to adapt to new circumstances, whether in business or personal life, can lead to missed opportunities and eventual failure. Whether in the corporate world, in communication with others, or in our personal development, the ability to remain flexible, open-minded, and willing to change is essential for success. In the face of uncertainty and change, those who are able to bend rather than break will be the ones who ultimately thrive. Lynn worked for a fast-growing tech company where constant change was a part of the daily routine. The tech industry is one of the most dynamic sectors, often requiring quick pivots and adaptability to new technologies, consumer preferences, and market demands. At the core of this constant flux is a need for employees who can not only keep up with change, but actively drive it. This is where Lynn excelled. She was not just a passive participant in her company's evolution. She was a key player in ensuring that her team adapted to new circumstances and, more importantly, thrived through those changes. When Lynn joined the company, it was in the middle of a significant transition. The company was shifting from a traditional software development model to a more agile approach, incorporating a combination of cloud-based solutions and machine learning technologies. This transformation was essential for staying competitive, but was also met with resistance from many of her colleagues, who had grown comfortable with the old ways of working. Many of them, especially senior employees, were hesitant to abandon the familiar processes and embrace the unfamiliar challenges of new methodologies. Lynn, however, did not hesitate to approach this transition with an open mind and a flexible attitude. She understood the need for change and took it upon herself to lead by example. Instead of just accepting the new systems as they were, she actively sought ways to make the transition smoother for her team. She initiated several brainstorming sessions to encourage the team to share their concerns, offer suggestions, and think of ways to implement the new strategies in a way that would benefit everyone. Lynn even started proposing innovative approaches to solve some of the more complex problems related to the shift in strategy. Her ideas, such as integrating real-time feedback loops and introducing regular team sprints to improve efficiency, were well received and implemented. Lynn's proactive behavior did more than just help her team adapt to the changes, it helped them thrive. Her flexibility in not only accepting, but also encouraging new ways of thinking and working allowed the company to rapidly adopt and innovate with the new technologies. The transformation that had once seemed daunting became a competitive advantage. Within months, The company saw marked improvements in product development speed, customer satisfaction, and overall market share. Lin's ability to embrace and lead change didn't just make her a successful team member. It positioned her as a leader within the company. She demonstrated how adopting flexibility, rather than resisting change, is a key to success. Her ability to communicate the necessity of adaptability and inspire her team to embrace new ideas showed how flexibility isn't a sign of weakness, but a strength and essential trait in the fast-paced tech world. This example highlights how a flexible mindset can transform not only an individual's career, but also an entire organization's future. Lin's story shows that, especially in industries that demand constant innovation, the ability to adapt, lead change, and inspire others is a crucial skill. Rather than seeing change as a threat, Lin saw it as an opportunity for growth, both for herself and her team. This is the power of flexibility in action. It is not just about adapting to change, but actively driving it and using it to fuel success. In contrast, consider the story of a well-established fashion entrepreneur named David. David owned a successful brick-and-mortar clothing store that had been thriving for years. His business was built on a model that worked well for him: high-quality clothing, personal customer service, and a loyal base of local customers. However, over time, the market began to shift. Consumer preferences changed, and more people started shopping online, attracted by the convenience of browsing and purchasing clothing from home. David initially resisted this change, believing that his loyal customers would continue to come to his physical store as they always had. He was convinced that the personal experience his store provided could not be replicated online. However, as the years went on, the decline in foot traffic became undeniable. Despite having loyal customers, David's business was struggling. More competitors, many of them online-only stores, began to chip away at his market share, offering the same high-quality clothes at competitive prices with the added benefit of convenience. David found himself facing a significant crisis, as the traditional retail model that had worked so well for him was no longer sustainable in the face of evolving consumer habits. It wasn't until David realized that he needed to change his business model that things began to turn around. He reached out to a business consultant who emphasized the importance of embracing digital transformation. At first, David was hesitant. He had no experience with online sales and was unsure of how to make the transition. But he recognized that his traditional approach was no longer enough to keep his business afloat. David decided to embrace the idea of online retail. He invested in building an e-commerce platform, rebranded his company with a modern look, and began offering fast and free shipping to attract customers. He also made sure that his website was optimized for mobile devices, knowing that many potential buyers were browsing on their phones. More importantly, David started using social media to connect with a broader audience, showcasing his products through lifestyle photos and engaging content that resonated with younger, tech-savvy consumers. The shift wasn't easy. At first, David had to learn how to navigate digital marketing, online sales platforms, and customer service in e-commerce space. There were moments of doubt, and the transition didn't happen overnight. But over time, David began to see the benefits of his adaptability. His online store quickly attracted new customers from all over the country. His brand began to resonate with a younger demographic that preferred the convenience of shopping online, and sales began to rise. David's story illustrates the importance of being flexible, particularly in a competitive and fast-changing environment. Had he remained rigid in his thinking and resisted the need for change, his business would likely have faded into obscurity. But instead, he embraced change, adapted his strategy, and ultimately found new success by tapping into a broader market. His flexibility not only saved his business, but also positioned it for future growth in a way that would have been impossible had he stuck to the old ways. David's decision to adapt to the digital landscape serves as a clear example of how flexibility in business, especially in the face of changing consumer behavior, can make all the difference between failure and success. His story is not unique. Many businesses, large and small, have either succeeded or failed based on their ability to adapt to changing trends and demands. The fashion industry, in particular, has seen numerous examples of businesses that embrace the digital shift, such as ASOS and Zara, thriving in a way that traditional stores could only dream of. The common thread between Lynn's and David's stories is the willingness to embrace change and adapt. In both cases, the protagonists faced challenges that required them to step outside their comfort zones and adjust their strategies. Lynn's flexibility in the workplace allowed her company to thrive in the face of technological disruption, while David's openness to digital transformation enabled his business to survive in a retail landscape increasingly dominated by e-commerce. These examples demonstrate how softness, in the form of adaptability and flexibility, can often win over rigidity and inflexibility, whether in business or personal life. Those who can embrace change, learn new skills, and remain open to new ways of thinking are the ones who are most likely to succeed. The ability to adapt is not just a survival mechanism, it is a competitive advantage that can lead to innovation, growth, and success in a rapidly evolving world. The stories of Lynn and the fashion entrepreneur highlight a fundamental truth. Flexibility is key to success. Their experiences underscore the idea that those who can adapt not only survive but thrive in an ever-changing world. From navigating workplace transitions to shifting business strategies, both Lynn and the entrepreneur exemplify how adaptability enables individuals to overcome challenges, seize new opportunities, and position themselves for long-term growth. Lynn's story, particularly in her role at the tech company, highlights how flexibility is indispensable in the workplace. In a fast-paced industry where change is constant, Lynn's ability to embrace new methods and lead her team through the transformation was crucial for her company's success. Rather than clinging to the old ways of doing things, she encouraged experimentation, shared innovative ideas, and helped her team see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth. This willingness to adapt helped her team not only keep up with industry trends, but also become pioneers in implementing new technologies. The lessons learned from her experience are clear. Flexibility in thought and action creates an environment where individuals can face challenges head-on, devise creative solutions, and create new paths forward. Similarly, the entrepreneur's decision to pivot his traditional brick-and-mortar fashion store into an online business illustrates the power of being open to change. Initially, David, like many business owners, resisted the shift to digital retail, believing that his loyal customer base would sustain the business. However, when faced with declining foot traffic and growing competition, David recognized the necessity of embracing change. By transitioning to online sales, he not only preserved his business, but also expanded his reach to a wider audience. This move transformed his business and allowed it to thrive in a new, more competitive market. The lesson from both stories is simple yet profound. Flexibility isn't just about surviving change, it's about thriving in it. Whether it's shifting to new work practices, embracing technological advancements, or adapting business strategies, those who can remain flexible and open-minded will find new opportunities that rigid thinkers often miss. Flexibility enables individuals to learn, grow, and continuously evolve, which are all crucial traits for achieving long-term success. One of the key aspects of flexibility is the ability to view challenges as opportunities for development. In Lynn's case, her willingness to change her approach to work allowed her to not only help her company survive a challenging transformation, but also to lead her team through it. Instead of seeing the transition to a new strategy as a threat to her success, Lynn saw it as a chance to refine her leadership skills, expand her influence, and help her company adapt to a rapidly changing tech landscape. By adopting a flexible mindset, she was able to thrive in a situation that many others might have seen as a daunting obstacle. For David, the fashion entrepreneur, the shift from a physical retail model to an online one was a major change. Initially, it was a difficult adjustment, requiring him to learn new skills, invest in technology, and trust in a completely different way of doing business. However, by embracing this shift, David opened up a wealth of new opportunities. The flexibility he demonstrated in rethinking his business model allowed him to not only keep his business afloat, but to revitalize it. His story serves as a powerful reminder that flexibility isn't just about reacting to changes, it's about proactively shaping the future by making bold moves and embracing innovation. People who are flexible in the face of adversity tend to be more resilient and better at managing stress. Life is full of unexpected challenges, whether they are personal or professional. Rigid individuals who resist change often find themselves overwhelmed when things don't go according to plan. They may become frustrated, stressed, or even give up. On the other hand, those who are flexible understand that failure is not the end, but a part of the learning process. They adapt their approach, adjust their strategies, and continue moving forward. This resilience is what enables flexible individuals to weather storms that others might find insurmountable. For example, in the world of sports, athletes who can quickly adjust their strategies during a game often perform better than those who stick rigidly to a single plan. A quarterback in American football, for instance, might go into a game with a specific strategy, but if the opposing team adapts quickly and shuts down their initial approach, the quarterback must remain flexible and change tactics mid-game. The ability to switch gears, stay calm, and adjust to the circumstances is what separates the best players from the rest. Similarly, in life, those who can pivot when needed are better equipped to handle uncertainty and stay on track toward their goals. One significant benefit of being flexible is the ability to collaborate effectively. In both professional and personal relationships, collaboration is often necessary for success. Rigid thinkers may struggle to work with others because they are unwilling to compromise or entertain different ideas. However, those who are flexible are more open to hearing different perspectives and finding common ground. They understand that compromise doesn't mean giving up on their values. It means working together to find the best possible solution. Flexibility in communication and decision-making is crucial for fostering strong, productive relationships, whether at work or in personal life. Take, for example, a team working on a project with tight deadlines. If all team members are inflexible in their approach, the team is likely to experience conflict, frustration, and inefficiency. However, if they are open to adjusting their roles, timelines, and strategies as needed, they can adapt to unforeseen challenges and complete the project more effectively. This flexibility in working with others leads to greater cooperation, improved results, and stronger relationships. People who understand the value of flexibility in collaboration are more likely to foster harmonious and productive environments. Moreover, being flexible in how we approach our goals and challenges allows us to stay motivated and focused even when things aren't going as planned. Life rarely follows a linear path. The road to success is filled with twists, turns, and obstacles. Those who remain rigid in their approach may become discouraged when things don't go as expected. But flexible individuals can adjust their methods without losing sight of their ultimate goals. They understand that setbacks are a natural part of the journey, and that success often requires perseverance, creativity, and adaptability. When we approach challenges with flexibility, we are more likely to stay motivated and continue striving toward our goals, even in the face of adversity. One valuable piece of advice for anyone striving for success is not to fear change. Change is inevitable, and in many cases, it's necessary for progress. The world is constantly evolving, and those who resist change often find themselves left behind. Embracing change, however, opens up new possibilities and allows us to grow both personally and professionally. By proactively seeking change and adapting to it, we stay ahead of the curve and create opportunities for success that we might otherwise miss. Whether it's learning new skills, adopting new technologies, or adjusting our mindset, embracing change is one of the most effective ways to ensure that we continue to grow and succeed. The stories of Lynn and David demonstrate that flexibility isn't just a nice-to-have quality, it's a must-have for anyone striving to succeed in today's world. Their experiences show that the ability to embrace change, adapt to new circumstances, and remain open to new opportunities is essential for both personal and professional growth. Whether you're navigating a career transition, dealing with unexpected challenges, or striving to improve your relationships, flexibility is the key that will unlock new doors and help you overcome obstacles. In a world that's constantly changing, the most successful individuals are those who can adapt and thrive in the face of uncertainty. Flexibility is not only about surviving in this ever-changing world, it's about thriving and seizing the opportunities that come with change. The concept of flexibility, as reflected in the adage, softness conquers hardness, is not just a philosophical idea, but a powerful strategy for navigating life's challenges. In a world marked by constant change, it's no longer enough to simply be strong or determined. What truly sets successful people apart is their ability to bend and adapt when necessary. This quality of flexibility is what enables individuals to thrive in environments that are often volatile and unpredictable. Far from being a sign of weakness, flexibility is an innate strength that provides the capacity to understand and master situations as they evolve, leading to sustained success. When we think about flexibility in life, we're often confronted with the idea that to succeed, one must be tough, unyielding, and unshakable. While these traits can indeed be important, they often overlook the importance of adjusting to shifting circumstances. A rigid mindset can often be counterproductive, leading to missed opportunities and stagnation. In contrast, a flexible person is able to adjust their thinking, alter their course of action, and remain calm in the face of change. The ability to do so requires strength, not just in physical terms, but in emotional and intellectual resilience. A flexible approach does not mean lacking direction or being indecisive. On the contrary, flexibility is rooted in a clear understanding of one's goals and the ability to adapt the methods and strategies used to achieve those goals. In fact, flexibility enables people to reassess their paths and improve upon them when faced with obstacles. It is an acknowledgement that the world is not static and that success requires continuous learning, growth, and adaptation. Flexibility is what allows people to stay focused on their end goals without being distracted by the hurdles along the way. Take, for example, the story of someone building a career in an industry that is constantly evolving, such as technology. The tech industry is known for its rapid pace of change, with new innovations and breakthroughs happening daily. Those who succeed in this field are not necessarily the ones who cling to the tools or methods that worked in the past, but rather those who can quickly learn, adapt, and pivot when new technologies or trends emerge. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, is a prime example of someone who understood the power of flexibility. When Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, the company was on the brink of failure. Instead of sticking to the old ways that had previously worked, Jobs redefined the company's direction, focusing on innovation and simplicity. His ability to adjust and lead Apple in a new direction transformed the company into one of the most valuable brands in the world. The power of flexibility also plays a crucial role in our personal lives, particularly in how we approach relationships and handle personal growth. In relationships, rigidity often leads to misunderstandings, resentment, and conflict. Whether in friendships, family dynamics, or romantic relationships, a rigid, unyielding attitude towards others' thoughts, feelings, and needs can create barriers that prevent communication and understanding. Flexibility, on the other hand, allows individuals to compromise, listen actively, and adjust their behavior to accommodate others, thus fostering stronger, healthier relationships. Consider the example of a couple going through a rough patch. If both individuals approach the situation with a fixed mindset, where neither is willing to change or adapt their behavior, the relationship may eventually crumble. However, when both partners are willing to adjust their expectations, listen to each other, and make compromises, they create a space for growth, healing, and deeper understanding. It is through flexibility that relationships evolve and thrive, as each partner is open to change and growth. In the professional world, flexibility is equally essential. One of the most common reasons businesses fail to thrive in competitive markets is because of a lack of adaptability. Companies that fail to change with the times, that resist technological advancements or shift in consumer preferences, often find themselves overtaken by more agile competitors. This is not only true for large corporations, but also for small businesses and startups. Take the example of Blockbuster, once the dominant name in movie rentals. Blockbuster's business model was rooted in physical video rentals, and when Netflix introduced its DVD by mail service, Blockbuster ignored the potential threat. Instead of adapting to the changing landscape of digital streaming, Blockbuster stuck to its traditional business model, and as a result, the company eventually went bankrupt. On the other hand, Netflix, which initially started as a DVD rental service, successfully pivoted to a streaming model, capitalizing on the growing demand for digital content. This flexibility allowed Netflix to become a global leader in entertainment, while Blockbuster, unable to adapt, faded into obscurity. The lesson here is clear. Success is not just about sticking to your principles or methods. It's about being flexible enough to pivot when necessary. Businesses, like individuals, must learn to let go of outdated models and embrace new ways of doing things to stay relevant and competitive. Flexibility also extends to how we approach our goals and ambitions. The path to success is rarely a straight line. It's filled with detours, setbacks, and unanticipated challenges. Those who succeed are not necessarily the ones who follow a rigid, predefined path, but the ones who are willing to adjust their approach as circumstances change. For instance, an entrepreneur who starts a business with a specific product in mind may find that the market isn't responding as expected. A rigid mindset may cause the entrepreneur to insist on pushing the product despite lackluster demand, while a flexible approach might involve adjusting the product, refining the marketing strategy, or even pivoting to a different product entirely. It is through this flexibility that many successful businesses are born. The most successful people in the world are often those who are the most flexible, the ones who can adapt to new situations, learn from failures, and continue to move forward. Flexibility is not a sign of weakness or indecision. It is a sign of strength and wisdom. It allows individuals to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and confidence, knowing that they have the ability to adjust when things don't go according to plan. To be flexible means to be proactive in seeking change, not reactive to it. Flexibility is about taking control of the future, shaping it through intentional decisions, and being open to the possibilities that arise. In an ever-changing world, the ability to change, adapt, and learn is essential for long-term success. Whether in our careers, relationships, or personal growth, flexibility allows us to grow and evolve, turning challenges into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones toward success. If there's one thing we can take away from this, it is that flexibility is a powerful tool for success. The more we can adapt, the more we can learn, and the more we can grow. So, instead of resisting change, let's embrace it. Instead of clinging to outdated methods, let's open ourselves to new possibilities. By doing so, we unlock the door to endless opportunities and ensure that we stay ahead of the curve, ready to tackle whatever comes our way. In conclusion, flexibility is not merely a quality we can choose to adopt. It is a strength that we must cultivate in order to succeed in life. It enables us to move forward, even in the face of adversity, and allows us to create opportunities where others see only obstacles. Whether in business, relationships, or personal development, the ability to adapt is the key to long-lasting success. As the world continues to evolve, it is the flexible individuals, those who can adjust and pivot when necessary, who will ultimately thrive and emerge victorious. Softness conquers hardness is not just a philosophical ideal, but a practical strategy for success in a world that is constantly changing. We've explored how the concept of flexibility, the ability to adapt, to change, and embrace uncertainty can lead to incredible success in both our personal and professional lives. From Lin's courageous leadership in a fast-changing tech environment to David's bold pivot in the fashion industry, the stories we've shared today remind us of one undeniable truth. The ability to remain flexible is the key to thriving in an unpredictable world, whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth. The most successful individuals are not necessarily the strongest or most rigid. They are the ones who can bend without breaking, who can adjust their course and find new opportunities when things don't go as planned. As we've seen, flexibility is not about weakness or indecisiveness. Instead, it's about having the strength to change, the wisdom to pivot, and the resilience to keep moving forward when faced with obstacles. So what about you? Are you ready to take control of your future and embrace change? Are you prepared to adapt your thinking and your actions to create new opportunities in your life? The choice is yours, and it's never too late to start. Flexibility can help you navigate life's challenges, find success in unexpected places, and create a future that's not defined by your past. As we wrap up this video, I want to leave you with a simple but powerful message. Don't be afraid to change. The world is constantly evolving, and so should you. The more adaptable you are, the more you'll be able to seize opportunities and build the life you want. And remember, flexibility is not just about reacting to change. It's about proactively shaping your future with an open mind and an agile heart. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world and helps me bring you more content that empowers you to succeed and grow. And if you really enjoyed this video, don't forget to show some love with a super thanks. Your generosity helps me create even more insightful content. Thank you for being here and for your support. I can't wait to see how you apply the power of flexibility in your own life. Until next time, keep adapting, keep growing, and most importantly, keep moving forward.